getting in the door. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to commence the council meeting, and I will just remind people that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded, and the voices and images of those participating in the meeting and in the gallery may be captured as a part of that recording. So welcome to everybody. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the original custodians of the land we're meeting on, pay respects to elders past and present, and to any descendants who may be here with us tonight. As councillors, we have all taken an oath to carry out our duties in the best interest of the people of Indigo Shire and to do this in a fair and impartial manner. We're all committed to exercising the council's powers and functions to the best of our skills and judgment. So are there any apologies and leave of absence? I do have an apology from Councillor Goldsworthy. Any others? Any declaration of conflict of interest? Yes. Councillor Shepherd.
I'd just like to declare a conflicting personal interest under Section 79B of the Local Government Act in item 17.1 today of today's agenda, the IEAC new member applications.
Oh, okay,
I'm related to one of the people.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going straight to open forum, and we only have questions from one member of the gallery tonight. That's Ed Tyree. So, Ed, welcome.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Councillors, Deputy Mayor. Good to be here. Nice to be the only one.
What can I say, Ed?
After the last 24 hours, believe you me, I'd rather not be here. Question one on my list tonight is, no surprise, of course, it'll gender items 11.2, 11.3. And my question is, how can Council entertain a recommendation that the Kew Springs Water Extraction Monthly Report at 11.3 is no longer required, while at the same time asking to be part of a process that seeks to better manage the amenity requirement of water miners, and in Agenda item 11.2, consider a report that seeks to deal with the issue, water mining, at the very heart of the problems we face. The Kew Springs Monthly Report lets Stanley Pastoral and others who may be interested know that Council is monitoring the activities of the site and amenity-related issues. It is a preventive measure as well as being a general administrative evaluation that indicates to the company that they must adhere to the conditions of the permit. The report it says 10.2, 11.2, indicates that Council and the community are united in the view that the matter of water extraction, etc., should face greater scrutiny and articulation. Water licences for commercial use will potentially proliferate across the state, and Council has resolved to lobby the Water Minister for Victoria, good luck, to be able to more tightly regulate any future water extraction facilities. The Tweed Valley report on ABC television recently highlighted the need for tighter monitoring of water mining activities, identifying significant breaches of the conditions of operation. Why should we go to the trouble of challenging water mining and extraction activities and then dispose of the only mechanism that is in place to manage and report on such activities in our Shire, thereby holding those responsible for the activities strictly to account?
Okay, well, thanks, Ed. And as you, rightly say, we will be considering that in item 11.3, and I think the comments you made are certainly things that councillors have considered when it comes to making that decision.
Thank you, Mayor. Question two, the initiative of to refer the water amendment motion to MAV, I think, is a good one. However, there's a propensity to consider that a matter referred to a research and advocacy project, such as is in the report, has been considered and dealt with, when in actual fact the issue needs to stay on the agenda as an item of community concern. The continuation of the water extraction monthly reporting system is a good way to keep this issue on the agenda. Will Council give an undertaking to ensure that while the referral to MAV is a positive action, addressing the water mining and extraction issue remains firmly on the agenda of Council?
So I can, absolutely give you an undertaking, Ed, that the issue of water mining and extraction is of primary concern to this council and will continue to be. We'll be developing a strategy in terms of ongoing advocacy on this issue, and as I said, we'll be considering the monthly report in item 11.3.
Thank you. Question 3. At the last meeting, Councillor Gaffney moved a number of motions in relation to the Hurdle Flat water extraction utility development. One of those motions referred to Council writing to Goulburn Murray Water seeking to have the water licence issued for commercial extraction at this site cancelled. Has this been followed up, and if so, what was the outcome?
So my understanding is that that the requests from that motion have been followed up and the letters have been sent to the Water Minister and to Goulburn Murray Water. I don't know that there's been any outcome as yet. Mr Florence, can you enlighten us to that?
I suppose just a point of clarification. The resolution from the last meeting actually asked Council to write to the Minister seeking to remove the delegation Goulburn Murray Water has for issuing a licence associated with this particular property. So that letter has been written to the Minister with the details of the resolution included in that.
Thanks for the clarification. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, so are there any condolence motions for this evening? Confirmation of minutes from the previous meetings. The recommendation is that the minutes of the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 27th of March 2018, as published on the Council's website, be confirmed. Do I have someone to move that motion? Councillor Shepherd, seconded Councillor Price. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Any business arising from the previous minutes? No. Any deputations and petitions? None have been tabled. Thank you. Item 10.1, the March Quarterly Performance and Finance Report. The recommendation is that Council notes the third quarter performance and financial report, noting the progress against Council's annual Council Plan action list, the advocacy plan, the operating budget and the capital works program. Do I have someone to move that recommendation? Councillor Trenery, do I have a seconder? Councillor Shepherd, do you wish to speak to that, Councillor?
Just very briefly, Madam Mayor, the fact that the capital works program, the operation budget, advocacy plan, and of course the council plan of action list, all being in that one report, I think is absolutely fantastic and gives a very clear view of what council's up to.
All right, Councillor Shepherd, do you wish to add anything? All right, anyone else wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Price.
Just to congratulate the staff on their 3 successful applications to Department of Sport and Recreation for rowing facilities at Lake Moodamere, an upgrade to tennis courts at Wurrigi and the Chiltern Netball Clubs and the Chiltern Netball Courts, and the development of a recreational water use plan, including lakes and rivers in the Shire.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to the motion? No, and I just endorse those comments, Councillor Price. That's a great outcome for the Shire, and thank you to the staff for all their work and the community that have been involved in that. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Item 10.2 is the draft budget. The recommendation is that Council endorses the attached 2018-2019 draft budget for the purposes of Section 127 of the Local Government Act 1989. That we authorise the Chief Executive Officer to give public notice of the preparation of the draft budget in accordance with Section 1291 of the Local Government Act, and invites any person wishing to make a submission in relation to the proposed budget to do so prior to 25th of May 2018 at 5 p.m. That we schedule any person wishing to be heard in support of their submission to the proposed budget to be heard by Council at a special Council meeting of Council on the 5th of June 2018, and considers a recommendation to adopt the budget at the June ordinary meeting of Council on the 26th of June 2018. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Trenery, do you have a seconder?
I'd like to move an amendment, Madam Mayor,
Certainly.
or to add. On part 5, it could be that on page 41, item 5 of the draft budget, there is 180,000 in the budget to form part of a full fit-out of a condemned building in Harper Street, Beechworth, the full cost being 250,000. In 15-16 or 16-17, in the 15-16 or 16-17 budget, Council resolved to bulldoze that building because it was deemed to be beyond repair. For reasons unknown, that resolution was shelved. I propose that Council park the money still in the capital works section on page 47 of 66 under the capital works total of the total spend of $8.167 million. That figure doesn't change, and the reason for it being parked there is that Council can debate that matter and come to a resolution.
So, Councillor, just to be clear, do you want all of that in the amendment, or do you just want the note? Do you want to add those as notes to the amendment?
No, I don't. Just to where it says that the total spend stays at $8.167 million, and it's parked below that figure.
Okay, so I'm going to ask. Yeah, I'll just ask the mover if that's okay. So, can you read back exactly what it is you're asking be in the amendment?
In the budget, at page 41, item 5, 180,000 in the budget is to form part of a full fit-out of a condemned building in Harper Avenue, Beechworth, the full cost being $250,000. In the 15-16 or 16-17 budget, Council resolved to bulldoze that building because it was deemed beyond repair.
Councillor, sorry, just to interrupt there. That part of it, there's the bit about what happened in the previous budget. Do you want to make that the notes to the motion and make the motion just that the amount of money be earmarked as for decision by Council?
All right, so that 180,000 be parked on page 47 of 66 under the capital works total spend of $8.167 million.
Yep, okay.
Finishes there.
All right, thank you.
I'm happy with that, so I'm happy to still be the mover if Councillor Gaffney's happy.
Right, and do I have a seconder?
I'm happy to second that, Madam Mayor.
Okay, do you wish to speak to that, Councillor Trenery?
I think, Madam Mayor, you're going to speak to the budget itself in a moment, but I'm happy just to probably, in regards to the recommendation, I really do hope that we do get a lot of submissions from the community. It's very important to all councillors that people do take time to have a look at this and put submissions in. But I'll defer to your comments in regards to the budget.
All right, thank you. Councillor Gaffney, before I do that, do you want to speak to the motion?
Not at this stage, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so just I am very pleased to report that the long-term aim of returning the organisation to a balanced cash operating position has been achieved in this budget after a lot of hard work, and I'd like to thank the staff in particular for the work that they've done in this area. We have no new borrowings, a fully funded asset renewable, so we're looking after what we already have, and our expenses are well controlled. These include support for some of the strategies that have come up within the constraints of the rate capping have also included new initiatives. So these include support for the active Indigo strategy in the recreation area, provision for implementation of projects from the new tourism strategy, work in relation to the Yakandanda to Beechworth mountain bike trail, and more support for community engagement with our libraries. Importantly, we have made provision for strategic support for initiatives relating to our ageing population. Some of the capital works programs include start of the Beechworth to Yakandanda Osborne's Flat cycle path, the Lake Moodamere rowing facility, redevelopment of the Beechworth Railway goods shed, water bubblers, and a range of others. All of these are outlined, of course, in the agenda and online for everyone to see. So in preparation of the $30.9 million budget, the Capital Works program is $8.2 million in total. We've been deemed to be at low risk by the Victorian Auditor General, and we've done this within the constraints of the rate cap. So I think it's been a really good outcome. Please, as James, Councillor Trenery said, we want the community to go through this budget in detail and to please have input. We've got a range of sessions. There'll be 7 opportunities for the community to meet with councillors and staff and to have their input, as well as putting in submissions, coming to speak with us, and of course contacting us individually with any issues you may have. So I would just encourage everybody to do that, and once again I'd like to thank the staff, the CEO, the managers and all of the staff of this organisation for doing their very best to get this budget in on target. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Oh, sorry. You did. My apologies, Councillor. Yeah, it's your... Councillor Gaffney, would you like to now speak to the motion?
Yes, I would. Just a couple of questions for the CFO, perhaps. Was Buller Gas on page 10, the turnover went from 2.737 million to 2.743 million. There's a net reduction in profit to 627,000 in the 18-19 budget from 672,000 in the 17-18 budget. I was just wondered why that had occurred, or why is it estimated that that will occur?
Thank you for the question. Through the Chair, the reason for that reduction is that the year that we're currently in was unseasonably long. You may remember that the ski season went for an extended period of time, and so that was a significant variation to our usual tracking, and this is a return to more normal levels.
Thank you. And tourism on page 13, it says that revenue has dropped from 72,000 in 16-17 to just 8,000 in 18-19. Yet expenditure has increased from 574,000 in 16-17 to 736,000 in 18-19.
Through the Chair, I would need to take that one on notice. I believe that the details were in the briefing packs that we sent round, but off the cuff tonight, I don't think I can answer that one, so I'll take that on notice and circulate the answer to councillors.
All right,
that's fine, thank you. And I'd just like to also mention the bike trails in Indigo Shire. In the current budget, the Beechworth to Osborne Flat rail trail, there's $100,000 in the 18-19 budget. There's ground truthing for a Beechworth to Yakandan mountain bike track next to the rail trail between Beechworth and Osborne's Flat of $37,000 in the current 18-19 budget. There was scoping study completed in November 2017 at the cost of $15,000. The total spend so far on the mountain bike track is $45,000.
What's your question, Councillor?
I'm just making a comment, Madam Mayor, not a question. I'm speaking as a seconder to the motion.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure.
The total cost for the Beechworth to Osborne Flat appears to be $6.2 million. With enhancements to the rail trail extension, just like to ask a question to the Director Infrastructure. That RT extension, is that the Beechworth to Osborne Flat for the $1.2 million?
Yeah, I think it is. What was your question? The rail trail extension?
Enhancement. It says here $1.2 million.
Yes, the enhancement works that are identified to the rail trail are broken down into enhancements over the existing network, and that's between Wangaratta, Bright and Beechworth. And there's another figure that talks about, and also the Rutherglen-Waganya section. So that's all part of the existing network, but the rail trail extension, yes, that relates to Beechworth to Osborne's Flat.
So the total cost for the Beechworth to Osborne Flat is 7.4 million, is that right? With the 6.2 and the 1.2?
Yeah, I think the 1.2 has now been down estimated to 1.1, but yes, in that order with the enhancement. So the trail itself is estimated to cost 6.2, and if the enhancements are funded, they're on top of that, correct.
And the rail trail, was it mountain bike track, is 1.7 million for 45 kilometres, which is a total spend on both tracks of 9.1 million. Is that correct?
I haven't done the maths, it sounds right, so certainly from the information that I've provided, the estimated cost of the preferred route for the Beechworth to Yak mountain bike track is estimated at 1.7 million, but that's not in the current budget.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to the motion, which is actually about putting the budget out in draft form for comment from the community? So we've had it moved by Councillor Trenery, seconded by Councillor Gaffney. Any further speaking to this motion? Councillor Trenery, do you wish to sum up?
I think you got it right. This is all about the going out to the community and community commenting back to us. So it's a big part of the budget. It's very important, and hopefully we'll get a lot of comments back.
Thank you. All those in favour? Carried. Item 10.3, Assembly of Councillors' Records. The recommendation is that Council accepts the attached Assembly of Councillors' Records, which are in the agenda. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Murdoch, seconded Councillor Price. All those in favour? Carried. Councillor Advisory Committee minutes. The recommendation is that Council receives the attached unconfirmed Advisory Committee minutes and endorses the officer comments, again as outlined. Do I have someone to move that motion? Councillor Shepherd, seconder. Councillor Murdoch. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. So item 11.1 is the Yakandanda Skate Park. The recommendation is that Council endorses the new draft concept March 2018, new draft concept plan March 2018 attached to this report for the Yakandanda Skate Park. That we progress to detailed design and construction of stage 1 within the remaining council budget allocation of $143,015. Notes that an additional $20,000 to construct the concrete loop detailed in stage 2 of the concept design be required, which has been included in the 2018-19 draft council budget. Notes and welcomes the commitment from the Yakandanda community representatives to fundraise cash or in-kind for the remaining elements of the skate park, valued at $20,350. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Shepherd, seconder. Councillor Trenery. Do you wish to speak to that, Councillor?
Yes, this has been a bit of a journey for our council because, as people may remember, we were ready to go really, and then the community, we had some concern from the community about the historic bridge and that the skate park was not in the right place. So we restarted really, to our credit and to the staff's credit, to go back to the community and say, okay, tell us what you'd like to do if you're not happy with how it is at the moment. And there's been a large community group gathering under our staff. Adam Flynn has been running this, and it's been quite a process where we've had lots of feedback, lots of drafts, standing on the place and looking at it, talking about it, looking at the bridge, realising that yes, it could be moved around so that the bridge was still seen as a feature, that the skate park could be an area where not only young people but little children could also be. So far, it seems to me most people are happy. I mean, the people who wanted it moved, it can't be moved, but even those people, I think, are happy with how it is at the moment. So it's been a great process, and I congratulate everyone who's been involved, really, in getting it to this stage. But, of course, not until it's finished can we pat ourselves too much on the back. But the community have been amazing. The amount of and they weren't all on the same page. You know, they were happy to discuss it and to get together to talk about it, even though they had differing opinions. And it's been a great process. So, and I congratulate the people who put so much time into it from the community.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Trenery, do you wish to speak to it?
I think Councillor Shepherd covered most of it, but I'd just like to add probably that this project wouldn't have been as good of a result, probably wouldn't have come about so quickly without the input from the youth of Yakandanda. The youth really drove the original plan and also backed up this one. They did a fantastic job and they spoke out and it was really good. It was fantastic to watch.
Anyone else wish to speak to the motion? Okay, well, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. And yes, I was involved in that process, and I would just like to reiterate the comments of Councillor Shepherd and Trenery, and it was a wonderful involvement from the community, particularly the young people, and I think it's a model that we could adopt to use into the future in other projects as well. It's been a huge success. As Councillor Shepherd said, we need to see the results on the ground, but we're certainly on our way and that's a great outcome. So thank you to everyone involved. Item 11.2, the MAV State Council Water Act Amendment motion. The recommendation is that Council endorses the following motion being tabled at the Municipal Association of Victoria State Council in May 2018. That the provisions of the Water Act in relation to the issuing of commercial licences for water extraction, storage, transporting, bottling and sale be subject to an MAV research and advocacy project to protect and preserve the water resource for food and agricultural production. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Gaffney.
I'd like to change the sort of recommendation, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
In part 2,
yep.
For where it says protect and preserve, to add the following. Protect and preserve the water resource for domestic use, food and agricultural production, and the environment.
All right, so do I have someone to move the amended motion? Councillor Shepherd, do I have a seconder? Councillor Murdoch. Do you wish to speak to that motion?
I moved it.
Oh, you did move it, Sorry, moved and Councillor seconded by Councillor Shepherd. My apologies, Councillor. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
I'd just like to say that Indigo Shire has written to the Minister and advocacy continues to change the Act. The MAV are a powerful advocacy force who have a fair amount of influence on the state government and their assistance in this would be appreciated.
Thank you. Councillor Shepherd, do you wish to speak as a seconder?
The only thing I'd add to that is it's not just our Shire's problem, it's going to be a Victorian and Australian-wide problem. So we do need more than just us on board on this, and the MAV is a good board to go to. Yep.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak to this motion?
Just to read the conclusion, because I think it sums it up perfectly for us. The extraction of water for commercial use is a matter which is causing significant concern within the community and within Council, and I'd add Councillor Shepherd's comments of Australia-wide. Council is determined to support change to the legislation which governs such activities, and the submission of a motion to the MAV State Council is just one part of our Council's approach.
Anyone else wish to speak? Do you wish to sum up? All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Item 11.3, the water extraction monthly monitoring. The recommendation is that Council, 1, further endorses the Council-led actions detailed in the report in relation to the issuing of licences to extract water for commercial use, and 2, no longer requires the Q Springs Water Extraction Facility monthly monitoring report to be presented. Do I have someone to move that motion? The motion is lapsed. Oh, Councillor Shepherd?
I'm happy to move that motion without the no longer requires the Q Springs Water Extraction Facility monthly monitoring. So we do. The Council further endorses the Council-led actions detailed in the report in relation to the issuing of licences to extract water for commercial use.
Do I have someone to second that? Councillor Price. Anyone else? Oh, sorry. Do you wish to speak to that?
No. Well, the report goes through what else we'll be doing, and I think that's worth having on the agenda, but I don't think we need to. I think, as Ed Tyree said quite eloquently earlier, we need to keep an eye. We need to keep it out in the community what's going on. So I'd like to leave that last bit off.
All right. So, Councillor Price, do you wish to say anything about that? Anyone else wish to speak to that? Councillor Gaffney.
I'd just like to have added to it, if the council extends funds for road repair or any other issues like that they be also mentioned in this monitoring report.
Okay, so to do that, do you wish to change the reporting requirements?
No, it's still a report on the status, but I think that should be inclusive of it. I think it's probably an operational issue, but I'd certainly like to see it in the report. I think Council has spent $20,000 to repair that road.
Yep.
And I think it should be mentioned in the report.
So can that be noted by Director Mark Florence and Ian Elliott? Because I guess infrastructure is involved in that. So any...
And the CEO.
And the CEO, referred through to you. Yep. Okay. All right, so we'll include that into the report.
As long as you capture it, that'll be good.
All right, so I'm going to put the recommendation as put forward by Councillor Shepherd, which was item 1, that Council further endorses the council-led actions detailed in the report in relation to the issuing of licences to extract water for commercial use, and no longer includes the recommendation that we stop the monthly monitoring report. So I put that the recommendation. All those in favour? Carried. Item 11.4, the telecommunications facility in French Lane, Beechworth. The recommendation is that Council approves planning permit PP 170228 to allow the use and development of the land at French Lane, Beechworth Beechworth for a telecommunications facility subject to the conditions listed, and they're all outlined in the agenda. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Murdoch, do I have a seconder? Councillor Trenery, do you wish to speak to that, Councillor?
Only to say that, look, towers are sometimes not as popular as people think, but unfortunately they're a necessity if we're going to have telecommunications working properly. And this one, again, is one of those necessities that we need. It is in an area that's went out and had a look, and I can see why they need the facility to get the telecommunications working. So,
thank you. Councillor Trenery, do you wish to say anything? Okay. Anyone else wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Gaffney.
I see that an executive officer from NBN Co is present in the gallery, Mr. Evans. I'm just wondering whether Council will be informed of the progress of this tower and when it might come online.
So, CEO?
Let's see if I can do that, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we'll continue to be updated as to the progress on this and all towers, I guess, that are being...
There is concern in sort of about the tower, about the radiation, so it'd be good to be informed about where it's up to.
Okay, sure. All right, so I'm going to put the recommendation. All those in favour? Carried. Item 11.5, Lot 2 lot subdivision, 80 Reddy Street, Rutherglen. The recommendation is that Council, having considered all relevant matters as required by Section 60 of the Planning and Environment Act 1987, resolve to refuse to grant the planning permit application 18007 to develop land at 80 Reddy Street, Rutherglen, for the purpose of a 2-lot subdivision on the following grounds. 1, the application does not represent orderly planning as it proposes to create a lot that has no legal abuttal to the road network. 2, the application is inconsistent with Clause 11.2, supply of urban land. 3, the application is inconsistent with Clause 19, infrastructure. 4, the application is inconsistent with the municipal strategic statement and relevant local planning policy. 5, the application fails to provide all the necessary information as required by the Indigo planning scheme, particularly a response to the relevant sections of Clause 56. And 6, the decision guidelines of Clause 65.02 are not supportive of the proposal. Do I have someone to move this? Councillor Price, do I have a seconder? Councillor Shepherd, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No.
Councillor Shepherd?
Just that this would create a landlocked block, which wouldn't work. So it's just, it can't be approved, really.
Right, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to the motion? All right, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour of the refusal of the planning permit? Carried. Thank you. 11.6, Community Care Transition Progress Update. So I do have an update on that somewhere. Sorry, I'm just looking for it. There it is. So we were for decision noting that Council acknowledged the activities undertaken to date and planned for the future once the new provider of the Commonwealth's Home Support Program and Home and Community Care Program for Younger People Services is known. That person is, or that service is now known as of this afternoon. So the Commonwealth Department of Health has advised Indigo Shire Council that Alpine Health will deliver the Commonwealth Home Support Program in Indigo Shire from the 1st of July 2018. Alpine Health has formed a strategic alliance with Beechworth Health Service and relationships with Yakandanda Health and Indigo North Health to take on the Commonwealth Home Support Program. Indigo Shire Council will continue to deliver these services until the end of June 2018. From now until the 1st of June, we will work with Alpine Health for a seamless handover of services which will include domestic assistance, Meals on Wheels and personal care, among other services. Letters will be sent to all clients and carers about the appointment of the new provider. To be clear, Indigo Shire will deliver these services until the 30th of June. Alpine Health will deliver the services from the 1st of July. Our transition coordinator will continue to support Alpine Health and the process after the 1st of July. So if anyone has any queries, they can call Angela Verdi, who is our transition coordinator. So the decision is that Council now notes that this information is known and that we make that available to the community. Do I have someone to move that? I've got Councillor Price to move, Councillor Murdoch as a seconder. Do you wish to speak to that, Councillor?
No.
Councillor Murdoch?
Well, I just to say that this has been a very long process and we have been working very, very hard, just like the duck on the water that's trying to paddle along nicely and look calm and serene, but underneath you're paddling like mad. And this, I think, is a really good outcome for the people that are going to be affected by this. And I'm really glad that we've got a local service that's providing it.
Okay. Councillor Price, do you wish to speak after all?
Can I just ask a question to the Director, Mark Florence? What steps have we taken since we've found out this announcement, as there's been quite some concern from the community and the staff?
Thank you, Council, for the question. So since the announcement's been made public, that's triggered a number of processes that have commenced as of this afternoon. So Alpine Health and Indigo Shire have convened 2 working groups. One is a governance working group to oversee the transition process, and an implementation group, which is a group made up of each of the organisations, council and community members to actually do the work to get the transition in place. We also are conducting a series of meetings with our staff in conjunction with Alpine Health, providing information to them about how they may go about being recruited for the new service. So that's an important step being taken in the next couple of weeks. It's also important to note that Alpine Health has committed to a number of community meetings across our main towns to introduce themselves to the community, but also to outline how the services will be delivered, what are the various processes that communities need to be aware of. We've also now implemented the process to inform our clients and our volunteers about the decision by the Commonwealth. And obviously Alpine Health and their various agencies supporting them will be working with clients and their carers and families to communicate that, again, that services will remain, and that in many ways the clients should have every confidence in Alpine Health's ability to deliver a quality service.
Any other councillors wish to speak to this motion? I would just add that it's very pleasing to see that the Commonwealth has actually accepted the recommendation of Council and to award service provision to service providers who are located in our local area, including our neighbouring shire, the Alpine Shire. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Item 12.1, the Beechworth Golf Club lease. The recommendation is that 1. Council confirms its intention to enter into a lease with the Beechworth Golf Club for a period of 21 years for the golf course located on Crown Land off Balaclava Road, Beechworth, for which Council is the nominated Committee of Management for an amount of $10 per annum. Council notes that the proposed lease is a Crown lease issued under Section 17D of the Crown Land Reserves Act 1978 for the maximum period and requires ministerial consent and signature. Officers place a public notice of the proposed lease and seek submissions from the public in accordance with Sections 190 and 223 of the Local Government Act. Should no objections be received by the nominated deadline in response to the public submission process, that the lease be granted, signed and sealed by the Chief Executive Officer. Should any objections be received, that a further report be brought to Council for it to consider the submissions and to make a decision in relation to the proposed lease. Do I have someone to move that motion? Councillor Price, and seconded by Councillor Gaffney. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just pleased to see it come before Council. The golf club has some big plans. They've secured funding from Golf Victoria in 2016 to develop a strategic plan, but they've needed this lease renewal to go ahead with that. So they'll be very pleased to see this has come up, and they'll now be they'll be moving towards a 5-year strategic plan being developed. And there's a strong desire through the committee and members to enhance the course in the community should the new lease be approved. So I think we're only adding to the benefit for the community by approving this lease.
Councillor Gaffney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This motion gives the golf club the security of tenure which it needs so that it can proceed with improvements to the course. There's no doubt that tourists come to Beechworth to play golf, and this facility certainly needs to get improvements. We all look forward to the Great Victorian Bike Ride, which will be using facilities at the golf course.
Thank you. Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 13.1 is review of the Council Plan 2017 to 2021, and the recommendation is that Council endorses the Council Plan 2017 to 21 for the purposes of Section 125 of the Local Government Act, with the following additions and changes. 1. A new action at 2.3.8, develop a cycling and walking trail strategy 2018-19 and 19-20. That a new action at 2.110, develop a parking strategy for Beechworth and Yakandanda. 3, change the action at 2.2.7, which is to develop and implement a shire-wide street tree plan, e.g. planting and replanting and replacement, to include public spaces and remove the word street so that it reads develop and implement a shire-wide tree plan including public spaces, e.g. planting and replacement for 2017-18 and 18-19. A new action at 2.1.11, develop a placemaking plan for Yakandanda 2018-19, and a new action at 2.1.12, investigate options and priorities for appropriate placemaking in other towns for 2018-19. that we authorise the Chief Executive Officer to give public notice of the preparation of the reviewed council plan in accordance with Section 125 of the Local Government Act. We invite any person wishing to make a submission in relation to the proposed reviewed council plan to do so prior to 25th of May 2018 at 5 p.m. Schedule any person wishing to be heard in support of their submission to the reviewed council plan to be heard by council at a special council meeting on the 5th of June 2018, and consider a recommendation to adopt the reviewed council plan at the June ordinary meeting of council on the 26th of June 2018. Do I have someone to move that motion? And don't ask me to repeat it. Councillor Shepherd. A seconder. Councillor Murdoch, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I think we've been listening to the community, and these new actions are ones that we have, the staff and we have discussed and decided we'd like to add. And I think you'd be able to, looking at the five of them, you'd be able to see and hear people telling us that that's what they want. I think there's an opportunity now for the rest of the community to review. We've brought the council plan to them a number of times in forums, and they had an input at the beginning, so here's another opportunity for them to also put submissions in about anything that we may not have captured here.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Murdoch, do you wish to speak as a seconder?
No, I think Councillor Shepherd summed it up quite nicely.
Okay. Do anyone else wish to speak to this motion? All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. And again, please feel free as a community to look at this and have your say and let us know your thoughts about it. Okay. So, we have no notices of motion tonight. Councillors' reports. Any councillors wish to speak about any of their activities over the last month? The only thing I would like... Oh, yes. Okay, so Councillor Murdoch.
I'd like to congratulate the people from the National Tidy Towns Awards. I went there a very long trip to Barmera, and we came away with two winners, which was the Paddock to Plate program and the Warringah Public School with the Young Legends Award, and two other high recommendations, which were the Boomerangs Bags, which is a project running here in Beechworth, and the Dame Phyllis Frost, that's the Dame Phyllis Frost Litter Waste Management Award, and we, in the Resource Recovery category, by the Burke Museum for its climate change, oh goodness, I'm having trouble tonight, climate change control system that they've put in to make sure that the museum's displays and articles are all well protected.
Great. So yes, congratulations to all of those winners. And I think there was some talk of, particularly with the Warringah Primary School, writing a letter of congratulations to that group. So I'm suggesting that we do that. Is everyone in favour of
yes,
of
I
us
think
doing
that
that?
would be a great idea.
Yeah, because I think particularly when we have young primary school students winning awards for this kind of thing, we want to really encourage that. So fantastic outcome.
And they do go into this event quite often and have won things in the past. But
yes.
This is really fantastic.
Yeah,
because
it's really great. Yep.
Were commended.
Thank you, Councillor. And Councillor Price.
We went out to the Rutherglen community for a community forum, and I'd just like to thank the community for their participation. We engaged a new process that they weren't familiar with, and there was some resistance initially, but we did come to a compromise and hold an effective forum where we were able to accommodate both the needs of the council and the needs of the community, and we've had both positive and negative feedback, and we'll continue to implement that. And we thank you for your feedback and your participation, and we look forward to getting back to you on the issues that you've raised.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors like to make some comments or update the community on things they've been involved in? I would just like to say that I was on leave for 2 weeks in the last month, and unfortunately due to some changes in dates over the last few months, once this leave had been booked, the opening of the Beechworth supermarket happened while I was away and I was unable to attend. So I got to have my first visit there yesterday, and it is absolutely an amazing facility. And so I just really wanted to personally thank everybody that was involved in that. I also wanted to pay tribute to Councillor Trennery, who was the mayor at the time of that fire, and I know, James, that people were incredibly thankful for the support that you offered them, and I see you've got a big photo in there, which is great. It's wonderful, but I also walked through the main street yesterday, and the high street traders were not doing very well. I would like to just remind the community that, as well as having this great facility in the new supermarket, I really hope that we continue to support the traders who stepped in so brilliantly when this happened, and actually went out of their way to provide needed services and products to the community once the supermarket went. I also want to thank the people that offered their premises for the temporary supermarket, and to the staff of the supermarket who've just worked so hard to get this thing back up and running. And it's absolutely a star. Now, I think it's probably one of the best supermarkets I've ever been into. It's just amazing for a small town. So, yes, I'm really sorry I missed that opening, but I do want to just say what a great outcome it's been, and really so many people have been involved in that. And it is amazing to see what happens when a supermarket burns down in a town. It's a crisis. So for everyone involved, thank you, and I hope it's a great future now for those, including, I believe, 25 new staff that have been employed. So that was pretty amazing to see as well. So that's it from me. Any other councillors wish to make comment? No. All right, so there's a copy of my diary there for March. Any questions about that? If anyone in the community wishes to ask me, feel free. General business. Do we have any items for general business tonight? Councillor Price.
I'd like to acknowledge Josh Thornton, who was a gold medalist at the Commonwealth Games, and I've been frustrated by seeing that he has been claimed by Shepparton and Corowa when he is rightfully a Waganya boy, and very proud of it. His parents, Kate and Lex Thornton, were there in sombreros and tutus, I'm told, proudly supporting. And on my last visit to the Waganya community, they proudly reminded me also that he is absolutely a Waganya boy. So congratulations to Josh. What an incredible achievement. And I think that we could write him a letter and congratulate him and tell him that we are proudly claiming him also.
Absolutely. So that's 2 letters to our young achievers. That's fantastic. Any other general business? Okay. Now we are moving into confidential. The reason for that is that we are appointing, or we are considering appointing some new members to the Indigo Environment Advisory Committee, because we have to look at their personal recommendations and their credentials. Sorry, thank you. We do that in a confidential session. So I will, before I move into confidential, just let the gallery know that at the end of this, we'll be announcing who those new people are, and then we'll be closing the meeting. So if you wish to leave at this point, feel free. And when I do that, I'd like to ask that we move into a confidential session in accordance with Section 89(2) of the Local Government Act. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Price, seconded Councillor Murdoch. I would like to announce that Council has appointed Philippa Noble, Francesca Chianta, Penny Everingham, Peter Anfrans and Cecile Legrand as community members to the Indigo Advisory Committee. And I'd like to thank Council for their support and welcome these people to the committee. And from reading all of their credentials, we know that they're going to make a fantastic contribution to the Shire. So thank you for that. And I now move that the meeting be closed. All those in favour? Thank you all for your attendance, and thank you to anyone who may have been watching the meeting tonight on live streaming.